Welcome to Your Success Podcast. We give you actionable insight and stories behind real-life success wherever you go. Here are your hosts, Angelos and Mo.
Welcome to Your Success Podcast. I'm Angelos.
And I'm Mo.
And today we're privileged to be joined by Rick McMunn. Rick is an award-winning best-selling author who has published over 150 books to date.
Rick started his career in the Royal Navy, serving on HMS Invincible at the age of 16, before joining Kent Fire and Rescue Service, where he rose up the ranks for the next 17 years.
And in 2005, Rick wanted a new challenge and founded the How to Become series of career guides, which can be found on Amazon, which were designed to help job seekers gain employment.
These guides were so successful that Rick reached the final of the HSBC Bank Startup Stars Awards and has since been nominated for and won multiple other awards. And in total, Rick has achieved bestseller status now for 117 times.
That's pretty damn good, Rick.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. But as part of that, outsourcing has been a massive part of his success. So we're really pleased Rick has joined us to share his wealth of experience on outsourcing. So thank you for joining us today, Rick.
Thank you for having me on here. I've wanted to get on here for a long time, so here is the day I'm here.
So sincere.
I know this has been on your bucket list for a long time, hasn't it, Rick? So can you tell us how you got started with outsourcing?
Yeah, sure. I can remember quite a few years ago, I was looking to employ somebody, and for those people who are listening and watching, who employ people in business, you know it can be quite a pain to get the right person. And then when you do, you train them up and it doesn't always work out. So somebody who you'd interviewed before, Simon Coulson, a great entrepreneur, had said to me, I was like, how can you do so much with so few staff? And he said, outsourcing. At the time, I was thinking, what is outsourcing? I've not really heard of this before. So he said, well, there's these websites that you can go on. And at the time, it was, I think it was Elance and Odesk. Obviously, they've amalgamated now into Upwork. He said, you can hire people to do absolutely anything you want to. So I went on there, had a look, and I thought, wow, this is really cool. This is a great revolutionary way of, hiring people. And in my particular business, I need people like book cover designers, typesetters, Kindle converters. And as I started going into it even more, I found there was more and more people that could do different roles for me, and it would save me having to hire people. So that's how I got into it. It's through Simon mentioning it to me. And then I looked into it deeper and deeper. And I love the way that I didn't have to employ staff. I mean, obviously you need to employ staff in a business. But my first thing is I always go, can I outsource it? Because then I haven't got to go through the whole employment recruitment process and retention of staff. So that's how I got into it quite a few years ago.
Fantastic. So you mentioned a few there, but can you just run through the sort of broad range of jobs that you've actually got outsourcers to do in your time?
Yeah, I mean, the list is quite extensive. So I've done market research before. So if I want somebody to do some research for me, like maybe Google keyword analytics, definitely a lot of book cover design, typesetting, which is getting a book ready for the printing process. So that's like a graphic design work. And what I tend to do is I try and find the same graphic designer to do book cover design and typesetting, because then you're working with fewer outsourcers. So book cover design, typesetting, market research, Kindle conversion. There's loads of tools out there that you can download for Kindle conversion. But in my opinion and my experience, they don't work that well. And for a small amount of money, I can get someone to convert the book to Kindle for me in .epub format. So Kindle conversion, SEO management, that's another thing, is getting people doing link building. You've got to be very careful if you do that kind of thing, outsourcing, but we get people to build links for us, so we outsource that. We haven't got to have anybody in-house. Website development, website coding, building and designing of different logos and branding. The list is endless, really. Loads of different things. Ghostwriting, creating content. So we do a lot of blogging on our website, and I try and get more involved with that as much as I can. But if I need a specific blog on a certain subject, I'll get somebody else to do it for me. Another thing that I've been using outsourcers, sorry, I know I'm going on about this, but there's so many of the the other thing is getting people to manage your AdWords accounts, because they're trained and they do it all the time. And also like Facebook ads and social media ads. So instead of hiring someone in-house, or hiring someone here in the UK where it can sometimes be more expensive, I'll outsource it to somebody. There are obviously pitfalls with outsourcing, which I'm sure you'll ask me about. But yeah, the list is endless. There's so many different things in your business that you can outsource. And if you follow a few simple rules and guides, it can work really well for you.
And so you've got different job roles. Do you have several outsourcers per job role? So if they're not available, you can use other people, or?
Yeah, absolutely. So like, for example, with book cover design, just to pick one of them, I've got a few book cover designers. There's one person in particular I want to work with all the time, but if he isn't available, then I'll use a different person. Also, sometimes, and this I don't want to be gender specific, but sometimes if I'm coaching a female author, sometimes the subject is more suitable to a female graphic designer because they understand it better. So based on my experiences, depending on the client and his or her needs, I will choose a different outsourcer. But yeah, I don't, some people say, oh, you must have like hundreds and hundreds of outsourcers that you use. I don't. I have a small group of people that I use, and they're fortunate because I spend literally hundreds of thousands of pounds with them. And it's great for me because, they're tried and tested. I trust them. And more often than not, I can go to bed, wake up in the morning, and the job's done, which is brilliant. So it works really well.
A lot of our listeners are considering starting up their own business or have started up their own business, but they're quite small in scale. Would you say some of the benefits of outsourcing is being able to scale up quicker?
Yeah, I think what I love about it is that outsourcing's for everybody. So anybody can use it. It doesn't matter how small or large you are as a business. It works for everybody. So if I was starting out now, I would be using outsourcers and I would use them to help me scale up my business as I go along. Obviously, you've got to be very careful with who you use. And I see this time and time again where people make the same mistakes, which I'll talk about when you get onto that question. But yeah, you can scale as large as you want, but you don't have to be a certain size. You could be starting out. Let's say you've got an idea for an online business and you want to get someone to design and build your website. You want it to be mobile capable. You want it to be fast. You want the website speed to work. And you want to get them to add products for you. Well, they can do it either on an hourly basis or by a specific set price per job. And it's up to them to do a good job because a lot of the time with these outsourcers, well, virtually all the time, they need a good review from you to get additional work. And there's something you've got to be careful of in that is when you're reviewing them all the time, you're giving them more positive feedback and they can start increasing their price, which is something that you've got to be careful of as well. But yeah, you can scale it to how big or how small you want. It doesn't matter. It's you can take it to whatever level you want.
Brilliant. And what about any drawbacks? Are there any things to watch out for or sort of disadvantages to outsourcing?
Yes. So one of the things that I see time and time again is that people opt for the cheapest outsourcers. And that's understandable because when you're starting out in a business or even when you're running a business and you're doing it properly, you want to save money. But I see people come to me and they go, right, I've got my book cover design created and it cost me $5. And they're really proud because they've spent like £3 on this book cover design, but it's rubbish and it's no good. Very rarely do I find somebody who's spent a very small amount of money on something that is really high quality. That doesn't mean that you should go and spend hundreds of pounds on your book cover designer, but sometimes in the middle, where you're paying a little bit extra for something, you'll get a better service and a better quality. The other kind of pitfalls that I see is that people will hire someone for an entire job. So what I mean by that is, let's say they wanted somebody to write a book for them. They will pay for the whole job, or they'll commission the person to write the whole book. Instead, what they're better off doing is get them just to write one section first of all. So that section might be like the introduction to the book. Get that content back and review it, pay them for that little bit, and then pay them for the rest of it. So you don't want to commission someone for an entire job until you're 100% sure that they're for you. And that's the important thing when hiring someone first of all. So they're just a couple of the pitfalls that I see. Also, people not taking the time to recruit the right people. So if you and I, we've been in business for a long time, if we were going to hire someone to come and work in our organisation, we'd go through an entire recruitment process with the interview, telephone interview, application form. You should do a similar thing with outsourcing. You should spend the time interviewing them and asking them instead of just jumping in with the person. You should do this kind of thing where you're interviewing them via Skype or asking them questions. And then hiring them once you're happy, but based on a small amount at a time so you don't get caught out.
So you touched upon it briefly there, Rick, but what is the best way to find and recruit an outsourcer?
Okay, really, really good tip that I can give your viewers and listeners is, let's assume that you're looking for a website designer. So you're starting out, you want a new website. One of the best, there's loads of websites out there. The one that I recommend people start off with or try is upwork.com, so upwork.com. And the best way to find the best rated outsourcers is to go onto Google and type in the word best, then whatever you're looking for, and then Upwork. So you would type in best website developer, Upwork, best book cover designer, Upwork, best AdWords marketer, Upwork. So first word best, last one Upwork, and in the middle whatever you want. And then press go on Google, and the first natural search engine result, not the ads, the first natural search engine result that comes up will be the top 11 rated people in that field out of the whole world. So that saves you having to sift through all of the rubbish and find them on the site itself. It will just give you the top rated ones for everything. And they will notice that all the prices are different. So there'll be someone charging, say, $20 an hour, somebody else charging $15 an hour, and somebody else charging $80 an hour. And then it's up to you to look at their reviews, their ratings, the amount of work that they've done in the past, have a look at some previous job samples, and then invite them to interview. And put a job out there as well. There's a couple of tips that I can give people as well with putting job adverts out on these outsourcing websites. But that's the first important tip, is to look for the top rated people, because you're more likely to get a better quality level of work if you use the top rated ones.
Can I just quickly throw in a little bit of the experience I've got with outsourcing, Rick, which is very different from property and business and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking to build a little radio-controlled boat, okay? And it's going to have a Star Trek theme to it because I'm a big fan of Star Trek. But you've got to learn the electronics, you've got to learn the programming, you've got to learn the motor and how it all combines together. And then you've got to learn about radio frequency, devices and GPS and cameras and all this kind of stuff. And of which I have a fairly limited top-level knowledge, but I don't have the expertise. So I went to, I think it's Fiverr.com, and I looked for the best-rated electronics engineer. And we've become quite good friends, actually. And we're constantly talking on WhatsApp, and he's helping me build this quite considerable project for what it is, a small little boat, but it will have such complicated capabilities. But I wouldn't be able to achieve that without outsourcing. So it really does work.
And I think it's a valid point, because I see this is another mistake people tend to make, is that because of the trust element, they want to hire people from the UK, from where they live or in their local area. There's nothing wrong with that, but they usually find that they're charged a lot more money. And because their mind isn't open to the whole world, they're limiting the skills that they're attracting. So like with your example, you found someone, I don't know where they were, but you found someone who's got decent skills, and and then the way we can communicate nowadays is just endless. There's so many different ways. And it's getting over that barrier when you start out and you think, oh, I need to hire local, like you go and get a website agency that works down the road, because people think, I want to be able to go and see them and meet them. But I don't want to. I don't want to do that. I'd rather not speak or meet them. I just want to, because we're so busy, I'd rather just do it by messaging and by email. Yeah. Because they generally they don't get paid until it's finished anyway. So yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a great way to do it.
The funny thing is, I didn't think I'd become friends with Hamza from Pakistan, because I didn't even know he existed. But we've become really quite close, drawing on his experience and his enthusiasm for helping with this project. So
has it become a bit more than just a professional relationship?
It's purely professional. Purely professional.
I've got the same. Sorry, Mo. Just quick. somebody called Ikrama who I use for all my website development stuff. So if I want a quick job doing, I email him, and he can't do enough for me. And we have this relationship as well. He's really friendly and very respectful. Yes sir, no problem. I'll do all this for you. And he comes back really quickly. I've known him for about 4 years. I know what he looks like on a photograph. I don't know what he sounds like, but I feel like I'm best mates with him. But if I saw him down the street, I would not have a clue who he was. But I love that. You can still build up that kind of special relationship with somebody. And it's down to the outsourcer. This is the great thing. The onus is on the outsourcer to do really well, because they need to get good feedback and they want to earn money as well. So with regards to sickness, if they're off sick, they could lose the job. Whereas if you've got somebody working for you in your office and this happens, they have so many sick days a year, you've got to pay them leave, you can get other issues as well. So 100%, it's the way forward, definitely.
The gig economy, right?
Yeah. So Rick, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions. Firstly, about the different platforms. So you've got, and what your experiences of them, and if certain ones are better for different things. So you've got the ones I know about are like Fiverr, people per hour. You mentioned Upwork, onlinejobs.ph, which actually we got our virtual assistant, Jeff, that works with us. We recruited him through that. Do you have a preference, or are they better for different things?
Yeah, some are better for different things. I mean, the one that I absolutely love for the majority of tasks is Upwork.com, which, as I mentioned, was an amalgamation of Elance and Odesk when they came together a few years ago. So for Upwork.com, I'll use website design, website development, book cover design, typesetting, advertising management. So what I mean by that is AdWords, LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Twitter ads, etc. I'd use somebody from there. If I want somebody to do, say, logo design, or let's say I'm advising a client who isn't comfortable in front of the camera, but they want to do a book promotional video, I'd say go to Fiverr. So I would look on Fiverr for video promotion creation. Also, if some, and this is a popular business nowadays, if somebody is like sourcing products for selling on Amazon and they want some really good graphics creating, and this is where people fall down, they get their product, but they don't work really well with the graphics to make them look fantastic. There's some brilliant designers on Fiverr that you can get great graphics done. So you send them a photograph of your product that you're selling on your website or Amazon, and they will make them look amazing. For a relatively low cost. So video promotion, scripts, a little bit of market research is good for Fiverr. Book cover design, I don't go to Fiverr. That's just my opinion. I'd rather go to Upwork. Another great website for design stuff, like website design, and I'm not talking about coding, I'm talking totally about design. Logo design, website design, book cover design, anything design related, try 99designs.co.uk. It's more expensive. And what tends to happen on that website is that you choose a package, you upload a brief. So you agree a flat price of, say, £200, for example. 99 Designs will let all of their designers know about your brief, and it's up to them, if they want to pitch for your work. So they'll create something for you, and then you go in your back end area, you've already uploaded your money to an escrow account, holding account, and they will then do the work for you, and you get a whole host of different designs to choose from. And then after, I think it's 7 days, you choose which one you like, and one person gets awarded the job who you've chosen. So the other people, say there's 8 people who've tried, they won't get paid, but it's up to them to take the risk. So you do pay a bit more than that, but you can go in the back end and say, oh, I like number 1, but can you make these changes? And all the other designers get to see that, so they can create a similar kind of design. So that's a little bit more expensive, but you'll get a better polished design if you went to 99 Designs. You mentioned people per hour. I think there's one called Miss Moneypenny as well, for like hiring people to do admin work for you as well. So yeah, there's the main ones for me are Upwork.com, Fiverr, 99 Designs, and people per hour. Those are the main ones that I get everything done on. There are loads of other ones. If you go to Google and type in outsourcing websites, you'll get a whole list of them. those are my favourite.
And what would you say to people that might have a sort of mindset issue around, not employing people from the UK, and there's a lot of people out of work and those kind of things? What's your take on that?
Just try it, because you'll be. I think, I'm not saying. I get some people to do work for me in the UK. Like we've just had for our website, howtobecome.com. So it's how to with the number 2. That's the career guide website. We've just gone through a total rebrand and total rebuild. I've gone with somebody from the UK because the amount of money that we spent, we spent upwards of £40,000, because literally within a couple of months we noticed web traffic has been massive for the last year or two, but the conversions weren't that great. In the last few months, we've been seeing more and more people buying through, mobile devices. So we wanted a company that we could work a lot closer with, and I wanted to go up and see them, and it was the amount of money that I was spending. But generally, where I can, I will outsource abroad, because I tend to find I'll get a better level of customer service. That's what I tend to find. And it's also cheaper as well, because they're all competing with each other and they want to do a great service. And you go to some countries where, the customer service is just amazing and the price is relatively low. So at the moment, I've got somebody looking after my AdWords accounts, and he's $7 an hour and he can't do enough. And I'm not bothered about someone calling me, oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. But it's just nice to have that great level of service, which, as people watching and listening will know, you don't always get that, do you? You don't get it. Customer service is lacking sometimes. So if you use somebody, an outsourcer, it's not very good, they don't get paid, and also you will leave them a negative review, because you are asked on a lot of these platforms, how did you find the experience? And it's in their interest to give great reviews. You have got to be careful with giving people reviews, which, if you're happy for me to quickly share this, you'll get a lot of new outsourcers go on these websites. So they're just starting out, and they are generally quite cheap because they don't have many reviews and they want to get more work. So you hire them for a cheap price. They do a great job. You give them a great review. You hire them again, you review them again, and eventually their review rating goes up and they start appearing at the top rated people, and then all of a sudden their prices go up. Well, you've done that because you've been giving them really good reviews. So what I tend to do is I'll give them one really good review, and then I'll keep that job open and just keep hiring them on different ones, so I don't have to close the job down and give them a review. Because otherwise, I've seen it before, they put their prices up and you shoot yourself in the foot, to want for a better term. So.
Great, fantastic. And so obviously they're not in the UK and they're not in your office and things like that. How do you actually manage outsourcers that are in another country or you don't ever see?
So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. The first one is that you can hire them on an hourly basis to get them to do a certain amount per week. And they report back to you when they've done their work. So it's like a bit of a timesheet. So they'll say to you online, this is how much work I've done and this is what I've done. So you can go in and check it to make sure the job is done. I tend to hire them on a job by job basis and a little bit at a time. So if I was getting someone to do some ghostwriting for me, I'll get them to do one chapter and we'll agree that price. They'll write it based on the number of words. I will check it and then hire them again for that particular part. And when I start using people for the book cover designs, and I'm using them time and time again, they're only hired on one job per go. I'll also only pay a certain amount for the job up front. I'm happy to pay 50% up front. I think generally that people will want at least 30% of the money. You upload it, you put your money up to an escrow account, a holding account through either Upwork or Fiverr. So you upload the money so they know they've got that cash there. And you only release the funds when you're happy. So you check the work to make sure that you're happy with. Just touching on managing outsourcers with regards to hiring them, I always recommend when you start out with a new person that you put up a specific job description. So you're looking to hire someone, you put out a job description, it will go out to loads of people on the outsourcing website and you'll start getting people apply. What a lot of these outsourcers do is they just click, yeah, I'd like to apply, without even reading the job application or the job description. So right at the beginning of the job description, put something like, when responding to this job advert, please quote, reference H2B 38, something like that. If they don't put that in the response, it means they haven't read your job. So it's just a little tip to make sure that people actually read the job and they know that they can do it. So you don't put it at the end, just put it at the top. When responding, just put any small reference in, and if they put the reference in, you know they've read the job and they're more likely to do it.
And how do you manage outsourcers that are doing regular sort of repetitive work for you? Do you produce process documents, or do you get them to write process documents, or how do you actually train them up, I suppose, in that bit?
Yeah, so you'll find with a lot of outsourcers that they'll be trained already with regards to what you want. If you're doing something more technical, like say it was a WordPress development website, first of all, look at what they've done in the past, look at their previous job and completed jobs, have a look at the website. You could even contact the people who they've worked for on their website, contact the webmaster and just check that they were happy with them. Did they have any issues? Give people a specific brief as well. So make sure you spoon feed them. This is what I say. Like, if you wanted a job doing, you know in your head what you want doing. Don't assume that they know. Give a specific brief. So what I tend to do is create a video. So I use a Mac. So I use the QuickTime player and I'll record a PowerPoint slide and I'll say, this is what I want you to do. These are the different points. If there's any part of this you don't understand the technical levels or whatever, do let me know. So where possible, I will send them a detailed brief, either written down or by video, and that saves a lot of time later on down the line. And very rarely someone will come back and go, well, I'm not sure how to do that part. I've had that a couple of times, but not often. And they'll go, that's fine. Thanks for letting me know. I appreciate that, because I don't want to go through the whole process. They get through 3/4 of the job and then they realize they can't do it, which is not good for them because you're likely to leave them negative feedback. So yeah, it's about doing the interview process at the start and making sure they have a thorough brief.
Cool, Rick. So what is your biggest success in terms of outsourcing?
Cool. I think it's more, for me, is because I'm using them every day, is the book cover design and the typesetting. And even though, like, I've had lots of websites built through outsourcers, for me, it's making sure that I get good book cover designs done quickly and also typesetting done quickly for clients. So it's about the speed of turnaround. Like, we'll typeset a book within, say, 2 days. If you hire somebody here in the UK to do it, it'll probably take them like a week or 2 weeks. But I can turn around like a 200-page book literally, sometimes within a day. That's, for me, the biggest success, because then I'm adding the value to the client, because then they're like, wow, great, it's done really quickly. I've had lots of websites built. I've been through so many different websites before. They tend to take a little bit more time and a lot of going backwards and forwards with websites, and they can sometimes get a bit tedious. And that's why I've learned to give a really good brief up front, to be thorough with exactly what it is that I want doing. But for me, because I use outsourcers predominantly to deliver for clients and for our own books, then that's a big part of success for me. Also, these awards that you mentioned at the beginning, for the last I think it's 3 or 4 years, I've won the Independent Publishing Guild Awards, Nielsen Digital Marketing Awards, Specialist Consumer Publisher of the Year. And what the judges particularly liked about it was that they loved how much we've done by using outsourcers with so few staff. I mean, I've got like 10 staff who work in-house. So we're a small company, but we've got so many other outsourcers doing things for us. And we can turn around things a lot quicker than a traditional publishing company would do. More of them are using outsourcers now because they're getting savvy to it. You know, why should you hire someone to work in-house to do your book cover design when you can just get it done out there and you haven't got to worry about the employment rights and things like that. So yeah, lots of different reasons why it's been successful for me. But not having to manage staff in-house is a big thing. I love people, I do, but I don't want to deal with all the staff problems. I mean, you guys know what it's like. You can get a lot of problems. You can get some great staff, but at the same time, I'd rather, not see someone, just deal with them by email. It's a lot easier.
Fantastic. So this podcast is all about success. So as such, we ask everybody we interview, what does success mean to you?
Freedom, to be honest. Like some people say to me, oh, you're really lucky to have earned what you have. There's no luck involved. It's all deliberate, as you guys know. There's no luck involved whatsoever. you do make your own luck. But for me, the biggest, well, two of them really, the success is freedom. So I get to do whatever I want to do. I can work as much or as little as I like. I get to go places. I mean, I don't travel abroad. Not that I don't love it, but I love the UK. I just love the different places. So, you know, I've got a place in the Lake District, got a place on the South Coast, and I can just head off there and do what I want. So it's about the freedom. When I was working in my old job in the fire service, which, yeah, great job, absolutely loved it, but a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, managing lots of people. Now I don't have all of that. You know, it's just the freedom really for me. And also seeing people succeed. If I can have a little bit of help in them achieving success with their book, that's a great feeling. I mean, I operate a YouTube channel which is all about career guidance. And every day the amount of comments we get from people, oh, you know, I got a job, thanks for your book, thanks for your video. And that makes me feel good. You wake up in the morning and you see that other people achieving success after you've helped them and guided them. That's a great feeling. So I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it's true. It's really good. So the freedom, and then also seeing my creativity help other people succeed as well.
That's absolutely
because, sorry.
Go on.
I was going to say that the money is at the bottom, really. You know, when you start out in business, you always think, oh, I want to make plenty of money, but you get to a certain level and it doesn't, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but it's at the bottom, really. You know, I wouldn't do business if I didn't make money. It's true. But at the same time, the freedom is so important. When you see people going to work every morning, sitting in the traffic jams, I think, I used to be there and now I don't have to. That's, you know, it's a nice feeling.
Yeah. What's the best way for people to get in contact with you, Rick, and or to find your career guide books?
Thanks. So the website for career guide books is howtobecome.com altogether. If anyone's interested in writing and publishing their own books, I run some free training courses, so they can go to the website bookpublishingcourses.com. So all one word, bookpublishingcourses.com. Like I say, I run these free book writing training events. I usually run them at Heathrow at London. They can come and spend 3 hours with me, free of charge. Doesn't cost anything at all. And they can come and talk to me about book writing, publishing, or anything in business related. Or just search for me online. If they look for Richard McMunn, MCMUNN, and then online they'll find my website, so they can drop us an email. I'm happy to answer a few questions as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for your time, Rick. It's been really great chatting to you about outsourcing. We want to know your thoughts and experiences at home on outsourcing. Send us an email at hello@yoursuccesspodcast.com or get in touch on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
So thanks for listening to Your Success Podcast. Please click subscribe, leave us a review, and we look forward to your comments on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. And don't forget to click subscribe for our book launch at tiny.cc/yourbook. Thanks again, Rick. It's been great to have you here.
Guys.
I've been Angelos.
I've been Mo.
And see you again on the next exciting episode of Your Success Podcast.
You have been listening to Your Success Podcast. Click subscribe for more incredible content. More details can be found at www.yoursuccesspodcast.com.